So now I'm really excited that we're going to go ahead and get started. We have two wonderful speakers today. We have Colleen. Colleen is CEFCU's fraud expert when it comes to anything dealing with credit cards and debit cards. And then we have Emily. Emily is CEFCU's fraud expert dealing with anything with online banking. Again, please hold your questions. They have a wonderful presentation. They're probably going to answer a lot of questions as we go through, but just sit back and relax and enjoy. Thank you.
Thanks, Charlotte. It's great to see everybody out here today. This is awesome because if we can get the word out to you guys and you could just tell one other person what you learned today, that would be awesome. Emily and I deal with scams every day. I deal with them, like Charlotte said, with credit and debit cards and checking accounts. Emily's more on the online banking side. However, there's so much overlap between our areas. Usually if someone's scammed on their debit card or their credit card, they're probably given out their online banking information. So we are here today to talk to you about scams, about how to identify a scam, how to avoid the scam, and what to do if you have been scammed. So if you're involved in one, what steps you should take. We like to say it all starts with hello. So you may have recognized some of these text messages or emails. Just a show of hands, has anyone received this email from the post office telling you that you have a package that needs to be delivered? That's a scam. Yeah, so if you've clicked on that message, it's the best thing to do would be to call your financial institution and check your accounts if you've given out any information, because that's a scam. But like I said, we say it all starts with hello, so it's whenever you receive a text message, a phone call, an email from an unknown person, and you open that. That lets the person on the other end know that they've got a live person. So if you do receive a phone call from an unknown number, let it go to voicemail. Don't even answer it. If it's important, they'll leave a message, and you can just screen the call. If you open a text message and you see one of these links, don't click on it, because that's just going to open you up to being scammed. And we'll talk about that as we go through. So these are the scams that we see, the common scams that we're going to talk about today. The imposter scam, fake virus, ransomware, romance or friend scam, check overpayment, online lending, tax refund, IRS scams, grandparent scams. How many of you have been a victim to any of these? If anyone wants to, raise their hand or know of someone that may have been a victim.
Or heard the term before.
Yeah. Yeah, and so we'll we can talk about that after our presentation during questions if you want to give your example, if you've heard of it, or if someone that you know, or if you've been targeted by a scam. So the first one that we're going to talk about is the imposter scam. This one CEFCU is dealing with right now. I don't know if any of you are on Facebook, if you've liked CEFCU, if you get notifications from CEFCU. If you haven't liked CEFCU to get the notifications or follow CEFCU, definitely do that. We do put out announcements in Facebook, and also, if we're seeing any type of scam going on, we'll post it out there. So the imposter scam is where the bad actor, which the bad actor is going to be the person that's trying to take your identity or trying to get your information. We refer to those as bad actors. So what they've been doing is they're targeting our members with either an email, a text, or a phone call. What we've been seeing are texts. So they text our members and say, it'll say, something like, this is CEFCU. Did you authorize a transaction? And it may be like a transaction in Texas for $500. If not, click this link. So going back to what I said, never click a link in a text message. I should have some examples here. I think that's in there. But what they'll do is, so they'll send a text message with the link. Once you click on that link, they'll send another text message and say, hey, we need you to call this phone number. You call the phone number, thinking you're calling CEFCU, but you're calling the bad actor, and they say, okay, since you didn't do that transaction, we need to block your card. In order for us to do that, we need your card number. We need your expiration date. We need the 3 digits on the back of the card. We need your online banking, login, and password. So they get all of that information. Do you have one of those? You got a text?
Did you sign in from Tampa, Florida? No. Authorized Thursday customer CEFCU.cc.
Right. So that's a scam. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So they'll ask you for all of that information, and then they're going to take over your account. So they'll take over your online banking.
So what that text message is asking you to do when it asks you to click on a link that's not CEFCU, the website is disguised to look like CEFCU because it says CEFCU.com, right? But it does say CEFCU.com/OTP/ just not the CEFCU.com, the site you should be going to. But what happens when you click on that and it asks for your login ID and your password, it looks just like one of these. What happens is it's called credential harvesting. So even though it looks like our login page, you put in your login ID, you put in your password, and those are harvested for later use or to go to your account takeover. Even after that, with even like these messages that have been reported, or even the message that you got, after you put in your login ID and your password, they'll even ask for the social security number. We need your full social security number to block this transaction or to block that login. So that's what's happening when it's asking for that information and when it's trying to gather that information when it's a bad site. There's other text messages that don't include a link, but it asks you to respond yes, no. More often than not, that's when you're going to get the phone call from the bad actor claiming, I'm with the CEFCU fraud department, and we need your credit card number, we need your expiration date, we need your social security number. They'll ask you for your mother's maiden name if you will give it to them. They'll take all of the information.
Yeah, so either way, any type of text message that you get, just don't respond to it. CEFCU is never going to send you a link and ask you to click on that message because we've seen it both ways. We've seen it with where they have you click on the message and enter, your online banking credentials and also your credit or debit card number. So you don't ever want to click on any of those links. And any time that, have you ever maybe forgotten your password on online banking and you had to get it reset? Has anyone done that? Yeah, so when you do that, then CEFCU sends you what's called a secure access code, and that's for you to reset your password. So once you enter that information, then you can reset the password. But what the text message is going to say to you on there is going to say, do not share this information with anyone. And we mean that. Don't give that information out, because that's another thing that the bad actors are asking for. They want that secure access code.
And so we've actually added language that says don't share with anybody, including a CEFCU representative. A CEFCU representative is never going to ask you for that 6-digit code to verify you over the phone. That's for online banking verification.
Right. So even with like Google, Google has it on there. A lot of merchants have, or different vendors have that language on their text when they are sending out an OTP, a one-time password, or a secure access code. So it's going to say, do not share this with anyone. So just don't. If anyone asks you for a secure access code or a one-time passcode, that's not to be given out. That's only for you to enter to reset your password. Another thing that we want to say is do not Google any type of a phone number. So if you are trying to get a hold of someone, if you need to call CEFCU, the best thing to do would be to look on the back of your statement or your card to get that information. Don't Google like CEFCU phone numbers, because bad actors, they can pay to have their information put at the top of that Google search. So you'll want to go directly to the source. So, you could go to CEFCU.com and find the phone number there. So another thing about the secure access codes, they're always going to come from either a 5-digit number. They're not going to come from an actual phone number. So if you get a code from CEFCU, it's going to be it's called a short code. And we've been told that those can't be spoofed. And by spoofing, I mean that there's technology out there where the bad actors can make it look like any number is calling you. So you could get a phone call that says it's from CEFCU, but it's not really CEFCU. So you need to be careful with that. You always need to remember that CEFCU we're not going to call you and ask you for your information. We're not going to ask you for your savings account number, your card number. Definitely not going to ask you for any of your online banking credentials. So, Social Security Administration, they're not going to call out and ask for your Social Security number. The IRS isn't going to call you and ask you for any information like that as well.
And the only thing I think I would add is if you are not sure you're in that situation and you really think you're talking to a CEFCU representative, the reason why we're talking about this scam is because they are so good at pretending to be us. So if never share those codes with anyone, if somebody asks for them, hang up. If you really, truly are not sure, and if you tell them, I was told not to give you that code, they're going to create pressure. They're going to create urgency. They're going to tell you, well, if you don't give me that code, I can't turn off your card, or I can't prevent this bad thing from happening. I just want to include, and I know Colleen's been in this situation, if there is something going on with your account, I promise you, I'm going to shut it down. I won't ask for your permission or for that code. If something truly is going on with your account, and I know I can tell it's not you, the individual logging in, I will shut it down, and I usually actually call Colleen and ask her to look at the debit or the credit card too. People have hung up on me. Our members here have hung up on me because they thought I was the fraudster, which is fine. That will never hurt my feelings. I actually always tell people I'm the fraud coordinator, so it sounds like I'm going to help you commit fraud more than prevent it, in my opinion.
As going back to what Emily said, here's what CEFCU sends out. We just added this verbiage within the last 6 months. Do not share this code with anyone, not even a CEFCU representative. So take that to heart. Even if someone from CEFCU is calling you and asking for that number, do not give it out. There's no reason why we would need that one-time passcode or secure access code. Here's just some additional text messages that we've seen from members. Again, and we're not going to send a message out to you asking if you did a transaction unless you've signed up for it, unless you've signed up for that service. We do offer automated fraud alerts on credit and debit cards, and you can sign up for that service. So if the transaction hits one of our fraud rules, you would get a text message, and you could let us know whether you did it or not. But again, if you can see up there, it came from a phone number. Any of our text messages, like I said, are going to come from a short code. So they're just going to come from a 5-digit code.
Can you go back one, Colleen,
Yeah.
so we can show them? So what she means by that 5-digit code is that short number up there, how it doesn't look like it's like a normal phone number. It's always going to come from a 5-digit code like that. And that's what Colleen means when she said that can't be spoofed, it can't be duplicated. That's why you get messages from the next slide. And also, notice the difference between the verbiage on a lot of those messages as well. So the longer phone numbers is what you're looking for. That is always going to be a scam. Honestly, even if you guys bank anywhere else, this is like an industry standard.
Yeah, so this is an example of an alert. So we do have cardholder alerts that you can sign up for debit and credit cards. And that's simply going to be where you sign up for it. You can set like a certain dollar amount that you want to receive an alert on. You can set, certain merchants. You can also set it as countries, maybe out of the country you want to be notified if your card's being used. I have mine set up, so I get it on, what happened there? I have it set up so I get a message on everything that comes through on my debit card or my credit card, and my husband's. So I think we all know why I set it up for my husband's, but that way I know what he's doing. So there's no surprise there. But so it's a really good tool because if someone did use my debit or credit card without my knowledge, I would get a text alert. So I would know right away that, hey, my card was being used in maybe just even, in another state, in Iowa. My card got compromised and it's being used. There was a transaction that came through. I would be alerted right then. And then I could contact CEFCU and block my card.
The really important thing I think to take away from that, though, is Colleen set those up. She went into her online banking and she set those up, said, yes, I want to receive alerts. We would never send you an unsolicited alert, meaning if I didn't sign up for an alert like this, I did not sign up for debit card alerts, CEFCU's not going to send you one. So that's a really good indicator is this real or is it not real? Did you sign up for the alert? Again, we're not going to send you something, especially to your phone as a text message, unsolicited. You have to sign up for these alerts.
Okay, so the next scam we're going to talk about is the fake virus ransomware scams. Just to show of hands, how many of you have ever gotten on your computer, a message that says, your computer's been hacked, there's a virus, any type of a pop-up. Maybe you've gotten a phone call from Microsoft.
Or an email. Email's a popular way to get those.
Yeah, an email stating, there's a virus on your computer, you need to call this phone number. So that's a scam. So stay away from that. The best thing to do is to unplug your computer if you get that. Take it somewhere and get it cleaned we recommend wherever you bought the computer. But what happens with that scam is once you reach out to whoever sent that message to you or called you, what they're going to have you do is they're going to have you download actual information to your computer. So they'll have you download like an app, and then they'll tell you need to click on that. They're the only ones that can help you get rid of this virus. So you do that. You download what they tell you to. You allow them remote access into your computer when you do that, when you download that software. So you're downloading really the virus yourself. So you do that, you allow them to have remote access. You've given them control over your computer. So at that point, what they do, normally what we've seen, is they put harmful pictures on your computer. Usually it's, illicit photos. They tell you this is what's going on with your computer. In order to remove these photos, what we need for you to do is to go out and buy gift cards to pay us. Now, when I say gift cards, I mean the gift cards that you see at Kroger, Target, Walmart, Lowe's.
They
Home
sell them
Depot,
everywhere
that
now.
Kiosk of gift cards where you can get anything under the sun. Well, what they want Apple gift cards. So they say, hey, go out and buy gift cards. We need those, and read us those numbers. Once you do that, we can go ahead and remove these photos. Don't contact the police because they'll arrest you. We're the only ones that can help you. I had a gentleman not too long ago that got that message, got that pop-up. He went in, he came into the member center and withdrew $15,000. And our tellers, our member reps are trained to ask questions. So when he came in, they said to him, hey, this is a lot of money, because he wanted it in cash. So they said, this is a lot of money to withdraw from your account. What are you using it for? He said, oh, I'm going to buy a car. And so, we can't argue with you. It is your money, but we are going to do our due diligence and ask you questions. So he withdrew the $15,000. He went and purchased $7,500 worth of gift cards, read those off to the person on the phone, because that's what they want. The bad actor, they want the number on the back of the gift cards. Because once they have that, they just go to town. Especially with Apple, these Apple cards, they're buying phones and computer, MacBooks and tablets and anything they can at Apple, because they can turn it around and sell it. So he just did the $7,500. He went home, and his wife said, what is going on? He said, I can't tell you. They told me not to tell you. So, everybody laughs, and I'm sure in most households that wouldn't go over very well. And it didn't in theirs either. And she said, no, you tell me what's going on. So he did tell her. And so then they called me, and we were unable to get the $7,500 back, because once you purchase a gift card, what you do with that gift card is up to you. So we have no recourse. It's just like cash. Once you withdraw, even if you would have just withdrawn that $15,000 and maybe mailed it to the bad actor, we have no recourse. Through MasterCard, through CEFCU, we cannot recover those funds for you.
And honestly, that amount is actually pretty mild. Before I did this, I did work in a member center for a short amount of time, for about a year. We had a member who came in, he wanted to withdraw $20,000. $20,000 is about everything he had in his savings account. We did ask questions and we did push, and he gave us the story, well, I just need the cash. I'm going to buy a car. I need to use something for something else. It was all spread out. We asked questions. We sat in a booth with him. And ultimately, he had to withdraw it, and he stuck to his story, but he did go to his car, and because we asked him so many questions, now he was pretty mad at me. He was really mad at me for asking all the questions, because it's not my business. It was none of my business. He can do whatever he wants, and that is true to an extent. You can do whatever you want with your funds, but we do want you to be safe. But because we asked him so many questions, he got to his car with his cash, and he called his son. He called his son and kind of told his son what was going on, and his son, thankfully, was on our side and said, Dad, you need to go right back into that member center and deposit the cash. So even if you're getting asked questions from us, and if you're not sure, call a trusted source. They're going to tell you not to. It's just like, honestly, any other scam. They're telling you not to talk to somebody. They're telling you not to get the bank involved. Well, call somebody that you know you can trust.
Yeah, and they're going to push you, like Emily said, and there's going to be a sense of urgency, because they don't want you to think. They don't want you reaching out to anyone. They don't want you calling a trusted source. The bad actor is going to pressure you and say, we need to get this done right now. The police are going to come. The authorities are going to come, and they're going to arrest you. So, if you do get some type of phone call or involved in something like this, just stop. Step away. Like she said, call someone. Even, I say not to Google phone numbers, but Google like Microsoft Scan, or Google, illicit photos on my computer, something like that. Anything to do with gift cards as well. If someone's asking you that they need payment in gift cards, that's a huge red flag. No reputable business is going to want you to reimburse them or settle a debt with a gift card. And the biggest one that we're seeing now is the Apple gift cards. So if you do, like this is an example of a pop-up. If you do get this type of message and you've clicked on it, you've allowed remote access, unplug your computer. Like I said, take it in, get it cleaned. Usually, like I said, we recommend wherever you purchase the computer from. Contact CEFCU or contact your financial institution because we'll need to shut down your online banking. If you gave remote access, we're going to want to shut down your online banking because a lot of times if you've given them remote access, you've given out your login information to online banking. So you'll need a new account number as well. So, like I said, we see this stuff every day. Don't be afraid to call in. We just want to take care of you and safeguard your account so these bad actors can't get in and get any money. So these are just some examples of different screenshots that we've seen for the remote access scam.
The best way to prevent these and to know if it's bad or not is on both of those examples Colleen had, they had a phone number to call. Microsoft, Norton, I think is a really popular one as well. They actually came out with a statement. They don't display those phone numbers for you anymore. If you Google a phone number for Microsoft, you're actually not going to find anything. They don't want you to call because there's so many of these scams that happen. They're not going to present a number to you to get help.
And Microsoft doesn't know that your computer was compromised.
Right. They don't know.
There's no way for them to know that.
Norton, I know, is a very trusted source. I know a lot of people use Norton, and they are good. If you have them and you like them, I think that's great. But they're not going to populate that phone number for you to call into. Again, so that's like taking that action. It's trying to get you to do something, create that urgency. So that's the easiest way to tell if you're going to become victim of a fake virus scam. They're not going to prompt that number for you to call. The best thing to do is what Colleen said earlier, take that device to a trusted source or the place where you bought it.
Yeah, and we've even seen smart TVs get compromised. Yeah. So, your TV, I think everybody now has a smart TV, so that can even get taken over. So, yeah, technology is wonderful, right? So, shut down your computer, unplug it. My mom clicked on something, I don't know, and she had something on her computer, and I kept telling her to take the battery out of her laptop, and she was like, I don't have a battery. And I'm like, yeah, you do. You've got a battery. Flip it over. She's FaceTiming me. Yeah, there was no battery. So just, shut it down, unplug it. You can see how long, it's been since I bought a laptop. But take it to, a brick and mortar store, so a physical store, and make sure you contact CEFCU or your financial institution so we can get your online banking shut down and take the necessary steps to secure your accounts. Romance friend scam. This one, we used to say we see it like around Valentine's Day, but that's not the case anymore. I mean, these have been popping up. I just had one last week where a gentleman fell for a romance scam. His significant other that he was engaged to lives in Spain. And this one kind of went on for a while because the gentleman sent, the love interest sent a check from their IRA, supposedly for over $145,000. And it involved online banking because our member gave out their online banking credentials to this individual. And then they gave out their credit card number to them. That's how I got involved. But they were also buying gift cards and reading off the numbers. So this guy, it was just full circle. It was everything. So yeah, these romance scams, friend scams, they usually develop online. We had a lady that met someone playing like Words with Friends. The person got her in a chat room and about $400,000 later. Yeah. So, they develop a relationship with our member. They tell them, hey, I really want to come see you, but I don't have the money. Can you send me money? And they just keep stringing them along. And this one with the $400,000, it lasted several years. We've gotten the FBI involved, the local police department, and our member she won't listen to us that she's being scammed. So it's even developed to where supposedly lawyers, are contacting her to help her recover funds. And so she's given money to them. So, but usually these romance scams, like I said, it develops online. It's usually someone overseas, usually military. I don't know if you have Facebook, but I get requests all the time not all the time, but I've had several requests from gentlemen in military uniform, telling me they liked a post or whatever. But they want to be your friend. They want to develop that relationship so they can extort money from you. Just have you send those gift cards is what they usually are wanting.
And the tricky thing about romance scams is these are developed over, in this situation, was 3 and 4 years. Sometimes it's only as little as 6 months. So we can't help until we know it's happening. And a lot of these transactions don't get flagged right away because they are small amounts, or they are very, very low, $100, maybe something that you wouldn't even think about to even say, I'm not going to really call about that one yet. So these are really, really tricky ones to catch, because we really don't even catch these until the member tells us what's going on, or a power of attorney or somebody else. And then by the time we are involved, we're in situations where the member has lost $400,000, $600,000, life savings at this point.
Yeah, and when we talk to our members, it's a hard sell for us to tell them, hey, you're being scammed. So one of the ones I had recently was a gentleman that he thought he said he was engaged to Jennifer Aniston. Does any of y'all know? So
we're familiar with Jennifer Aniston.
And there's also Shania Twain, the country singer. There was someone that said that was their love interest.
Elon Musk has been a popular love interest this year as well.
Elon Musk called one of our members and wanted $100. Needed $100 from him. And we tried to tell him, no, Elon Musk does not need your $100. But he wouldn't listen to us, so I think he sent it to Elon Musk. But yeah, it's very hard for us to get through to our members that they are being scammed, because they have had this relationship with the individual for, several months or years. And they really do think that they have that relationship, that they are going to get married. So if you know anyone involved in a romance scam, have us, let us know, and we'll definitely talk to that individual.
That, and honestly, the crowd reaction, I just want to say, is amazing. It's very affirming, I guess, for me and Colleen to know that this might sound like so crazy, like it's unbelievable that somebody would fall for this, but I promise you, if you have a church group, if you have a book club, if you have groups of people you get together with, if this is not a topic you guys are talking about, bring it up, because there is definitely people out there that are falling for these scams every single day, and they're not talking about it because they're not calling their institution. So you guys, again, this affirmation is great. And because you showed up today, you're likely to maybe not for one of these, right? Because you're trying to learn the tricks of the trade. But it's likely that you know somebody who knows somebody who has fallen for one of these scams, if not like a romance scam.
Yeah, because that individual, he was wanting to send $9,000 to Jennifer Aniston's charity.
Well, and the trick is too, he's going to send if I send $9,000, she's going to send me, $100,000 or whatever, or she's going to come and visit me and we're going to get married.
Yeah, we've had people fall for, this isn't up here, but the lottery scam. where people have said, well, I need to buy gift cards to pay the taxes on lottery winnings that I'm going to be getting. And so, it's usually like the Australian lottery that they're getting the winnings from, or a foreign country. And so we'll say, well, did you play the Australian lottery? And their answer is always, well, no. Okay, well then.
No, Australia called me.
Yeah, Australia called me to let me know. But, the hitch there is they're wanting gift cards. The person on the other end of the line is saying, well, you need, you're going to get these winnings, but we need you to send us the gift card numbers. So, as I said before, anytime anyone asks you for a gift card number or for you to purchase gift cards, know right then that it's a scam.
Or if you hear one of your friends saying, I need to go pay a bill with this gift card,
right.
That's probably I'm going to go pay my taxes with this gift card. No.
So if you get any type of request, on Facebook, I don't know how many of you are on Facebook or maybe Instagram, if you get a friend, a long lost friend saying to you, hey, we went to grade school together, remember me? And I've got this great, I'd really like to connect with you, or I've got a great opportunity for investment, which we'll talk about as well. But anytime someone reaches out to you unexpectedly, have your guard up. Yeah, and the love interest is always going to, make promises to come visit. So if you have any friends that maybe said, oh, I met this person online, this is great, they're going to come see me, I just need to send them a little money for airfare. Start asking them questions. And if they have family, maybe get some of their family involved, their kids or grandkids, and maybe they can talk some sense into them as well.
And I would say that's not even specific to any age group. This happens anybody, any male, female, 18 to any age. This is a really, really, and it's the exact same thing. They're going to make a promise to come visit and then they actually don't. So if your friend is saying that, follow up with your friend. Even if they tell you that, I've actually been in the situation with a friend, because it's legit, right, to meet somebody online and be friends with somebody online or Facebook. There's so many dating apps now. I just went through this with a friend. She met somebody online. They were going to meet up. It fell through. I kind of just didn't think about it the first time, but the second time, it also fell through. And then I asked her, have you FaceTimed this person? Has anybody in here FaceTime? Do you FaceTime your children or grandkids? How many, by a show of hands, FaceTime? Okay, so it's like people can FaceTime, right? Like it's a very easy thing to do, I guess is my point. Every single time with these people, their FaceTime doesn't work. They haven't paid for it that month, or my camera's broken. And it's just such an easy tool to use. And then when she told me, well, no, we haven't FaceTime, that's when my alarm bells went off, and it just turned out this person was just completely trying to wrap her up in a romance scam. Thankfully, she didn't send money, but it was a really tough spot for me to be in because she's thinking I'm the bad friend. Like I don't want her to be happy, and that's just not the situation. It's not real. You meet them in person. They're always going to make excuses to not see you.
Right. And they're always going to need more money, more
Yes.
and more money. Because, I want to come see you, but I need airfare.
Falls through.
Oh, shoot. Now, my mom died. I need money for the funeral. So can you send me money? But I still really want to come see you. So send me airfare as well. I mean, it just goes on. And
And it's
these
just
stories-
enough to string these
Yep.
people along, to keep giving them money.
Okay, so the overpayment scam. Do you want to take that one?
So overpayment scam, actually, we probably should have put this one in with remote access because that's typically when it's born. But it also happens when you're selling things online. So the overpayment scam, there's kind of two different ways that this happens. We just talked about remote access and when those people take over. Colleen was saying to get your online banking shut down. The reason is when they have remote access and you log into your online banking, they take over, and what they do is just transfer money from your savings to your checking or from your checking to your savings in a large sum, like $10,000. And they'll say, I owe you $200. And then, oh, wait, I accidentally put $10,000 in your account. I'm going to get fired if you don't send this back to me. And they'll try to get it back, gift cards, bank wires, however. In reality, it's just your money. It's your money from your checking to your savings. But they're creating those funds to make it look like that you have extra money that you weren't aware of. This also happens when you're selling items online. Has anybody ever sold anything online or bought anything online too? Specifically like Facebook Marketplace, not like Amazon. Facebook Marketplace. What happens here is if you're selling an item, any item, a tool, you want $100 for it, somebody will contact you and say, I want this. I just sent you a check, and there will be an email version of a check. So it's not even a physical check in hand. And the check will be for $1,000 when you only listed the item for $100. And they say, nope, it's fine. I made a mistake. Just keep the money. I don't know if you guys have ever heard the saying, you know, if it's too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true. That's typically the situation in these. So they're trying to give you more money. And then what happens is you cash the check, you send the item. 5 days later, we get a return notification saying, okay, well, why did Joe member cash a bad $1,000 check? We collect that out of your account. You're responsible because you deposited the check. The check is in your name. So now you lost the item you're selling and you lost $1,000. That's also kind of referred to like the puppy dog scam. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that one too. People find dogs or kittens online. They go and send money to buy the puppy or to buy the item, and then the item actually doesn't exist. So then you're kind of out money that way too, and then you don't have the item. But that overpayment scam is you're getting too much money after you listed an item. Sometimes they're large items too. Like somebody said they were trying to sell a piano, you know, for like $7,000. Somebody sends them a check for $20,000 and they said, cash the check. I'm sending my cousin to load it, pay the driver out of the money. So that's also again, if you get too much for what you listed it for, just stop communication. Report the account to Facebook. That's always an option. And just stop communication, shred the check, get rid of it.
Yeah, and that we see this a lot too with Amazon. Like if someone is wanting to ask a question to Amazon, they'll Google Amazon's phone number. And going back to what I said before about Googling numbers, the bad actor pays to put their number at the top of the search list. So you call that bad actor and they say, oh yeah, you're having problems with Amazon. I can help you with that. You know, give us your information and, you know, you just need to pay whatever for our help. So, you know, stay away from stuff like that as well. Or you may get an email from Amazon and they say, hey, you've been charged $1,000 for an iPhone. You know, if you didn't do this, call us. So you call them and you say, I didn't do that transaction. They say, okay, well, give us your information and we'll refund that to you. So you give them your information and then they actually charge you. So it's kind of not really the overpayment scam, but kind of along the same lines. So, you know, again, if you receive any type of emails or you need to contact, you know, a merchant, just don't Google their phone numbers. Go to a reliable source on that. Online, you want to take
the online lending scam is a little similar to the check overpayment scam as well. These typically, victims are usually having issues with finances and they are seeking out loans. Other times they're not at all. They're just getting phone calls, cold phone calls and say, hey, you qualify for this loan. Do you want it? All we need is your login ID. That's all you need. I don't know if anybody's ever applied for a loan before. I actually just bought a house several years ago and I felt like I gave them everything I had plus my blood type. So I've never had to apply for a loan with just my login ID. And what they do with the login ID, they log into your online banking and they tell you that's all they need because they'll pull the statements, they'll pull your address, they'll pull your information from your online banking. But what they do is use mobile check deposit. Has anybody used mobile check deposit before? So mobile check deposit is something we offer on our CEFCU app. You can take a picture of a check that you have in person to get that deposited to your account, save you a trip to the member center. But the victims in this situation don't know that mobile check deposit is a thing, but what's happening is they give the information out anyway. The lender, the fake lender, deposits a bad check that gets approved. So the victim is just seeing, you know, any amount in the account. Usually it's about $800 or under $1,000 first, and they say, give us a good faith payment by going to Walmart and sending us a Western Union or buying a gift card or doing a bank wire. any of the above, give us a good faith payment and we'll send you more. More never comes. The check returns, and then again, so that member is going to owe us whatever that check was for. And they didn't even know mobile check deposit happened. They don't really even know that their online banking was compromised because they're usually so desperate to get funds into the account. But other times it is people who are applying for loans online. So if you find yourself in a situation where you are applying for loans, check legitimate sources. And the best way to do that is a Better Business Bureau.
And this is very important. No company should ever ask for your online banking info. So
even if you're doing a loan online.
There's for no reason at all would anyone need your username or your password for your online banking, because you're giving them access to your account. So if someone's asking you for that information, they're not legitimate. Tax refund IRS scam. So we see these, usually it's around tax season, but I don't know how many of you, raise of hands, have gotten a call from the IRS saying that you owed back taxes. I mean, I know I have.
Very few, yeah.
But, I've gotten it. You can hardly understand what they're saying. But, I've answered it once, years ago, but usually, they just go to voicemail and it's cut off. You can barely understand, you're only getting part of the message. You can't understand them. But the IRS is not going to contact you by phone. The IRS is going to send you a letter. But these people that, contact you by phone, they're going to tell you, if you don't give us this information, we're going to send authorities to your house. That's not true. Again, you have to be really ignoring the IRS for them to come to your house. Like I said, they're going to send you, a letter. Same with Social Security, same with Medicare. They're not going to contact you by phone. We did have a guy that he did answer the phone for the IRS, and they told him he owed back taxes. He came in and withdrew $45,000. They instructed him to box it up and mail it to an address in Florida, which he did. Again, when you come in and you withdraw cash, when you walk out with it, that's all on you. There's nothing that we can do to help you get that cash back. Our teller did, ask him, what are you using this money for? And at first he said he was going on vacation, and then he was doing home improvements. So the bad actor, when they contacted him, another thing that they do is they tell you, don't tell, your financial institution what you're really using this money for. Don't tell them you're going to box it up and send it to Florida, to a P.O. box in Florida. Because, we're going to know that you're involved in a scam. So what they do is they coach the member and they say, hey, tell them you're going to go on vacation and you need the cash, or tell them that you're going to do home improvements or buy a vehicle or something like that. So needless to say, he's out $45,000. So like we said, the IRS is only going to contact you by mail, and it's going to be through USPS. Grandparent scam. A raise of hands of how many people have heard of this one. How about, has anyone been contacted by their grandchild? Yeah, so the way this scam works is the person on the other end of the line, you say hello, they say, hi, Grandma, Grandpa, it's me. And you say, oh, Billy, is that you? And they say, yeah, it's me, it's Billy. So you've just given them your grandchild's name. So what happens from there is the person on the other end of the line says, I've been in an accident, I'm in jail, I need you to send money. They're telling me that I need you to get gift cards to pay so I can get out of jail. So you go to the store and you go to get the gift cards and you read those numbers off, and Billy's sitting at his house or, wherever. So what we say is, if you do get a phone call like this and you really do think your grandchild's in trouble, call a family member. Call your child, call their siblings, call someone to verify their whereabouts. We had a gentleman that he got this call. He sent $1,000 through Western Union. The story with his grandchild was that the grandchild was traveling in Georgia and got into a car accident, and the accident was with a pregnant woman, got hurt. So he was in jail. So in order to get out, he had to get $1,000. So the grandpa sent the $1,000, Western Union. Then he was calling back to get another $1,000, and our system blocked that second $1,000 because it looked suspicious. So when he called in to try to get that to go through, and we started questioning him, and he said, "Oh, I need this money. My grandson's in jail. I gotta get it. You gotta let it go through." So after more questions, we found out that we told him, "Hey, call your grandson." And he said, "I can't, he's in jail." And we said, "Well, just try calling him, or call his sibling." So he did. He called his other grandchild and said, "Hey, is Johnny, is he in Georgia?" And the other grandchild said, "No, he's sitting right here." So, do your due diligence. Make the phone call, try calling the grandchild, call another family member to verify. So just some reminders. Emily, do you want to take those?
So steps that CEFCU uses to protect members and to protect you guys. One, Colleen kind of already mentioned, like our system does detect certain things, certain suspicious activity just for us to look at. Two-factor authentication, that's that secure access code we were talking about earlier. If you took any one thing away, for me, it would be don't share that 6-digit code. Don't share that code. And what you can do, when you log into your online banking, I know, but by the show of hands, it looks like a lot of people use online banking. There's a step and it says register device or do not register device. Registering the device, that remembers you when you log in on that specific device, whether it's your phone or whether it's your computer. It's okay to use that method. I am not saying that's bad. If you like using it, absolutely keep using it. But the best way to protect yourself is to not register the device. Because if somebody else is logging in, whether it is with your computer or with your phone, no matter what, they have to get that code, and the code is going to go to your phone every single time. So if you have your phone and you get a code and I'm not logging into my online banking, you can respond. You can then know somebody's logging in. That's not you. That's not okay. I can go and shut down my online banking. That's one of the best things you can do as an individual to protect your accounts and to protect yourself. I think Colleen would say same thing with the one-time passcode. Don't share those codes.
Yeah, and register for alerts. Like I said, you can register so you get alerted when transactions are done on your debit or credit card, and that's going to let you know real time that your card maybe has been compromised. And there's also the automated fraud alerts. You can register for those. That's only going to notify you if a suspicious charge hits one of our rules. We'll send you that text, but definitely alerts. It's a very good tool to have. And we do, on credit and debit, we do make outbound calls. Our processor monitors for suspicious activity 24 hours a day. So during normal business hours, I think until maybe 8 o'clock, 8 p.m., they will make outbound calls to verify charges. So that is legitimate. You could get a phone call, but they're not going to ask you for personal information. So they're just going to ask you if you did a transaction or not. But if you're ever suspicious of any phone call you get that's stating they're from CEFCU or calling on behalf of CEFCU, definitely give CEFCU a call and we can check on that for you. So if you think you've been a victim of a scam, call us. I have business cards I can leave, And you can definitely call me if you have any type of a question regarding whether you think you've been scammed. Maybe you got a suspicious email, and we can, look that over together.
And whether it's $1 or $10,000, no amount is too small. If you're not sure where that dollar went or where that dollar came from, if you don't recognize it, give us a call. We can't help you unless you give us the opportunity to.
Yeah, and just, going back to my original point, screen your calls. If you don't recognize the phone number, don't answer it. Don't click on text messages or emails, links. Don't give any information out. And gift cards are for gifts. So just buy a gift card for a gift. You shouldn't be buying those to settle a debt.